Everyone take an inhalation here. Release. Wrap your arms around yourself for just a second. And get a real sense how precious your life is. Get a real sense beyond any errant thought forms, any negative self-images, any challenges that you may be growing through. Get a sense at this second that your life is so precious, that all of life has compressed itself into you, that you are an exclamation point of the great power, the great presence, the great love, the great intelligence that is everywhere, that we call the God presence that is never in absence. Just feel this about yourself and take another inhalation and sustain it at the apex. Just sustain the breath so that your body temple and your nervous system begins to recalibrate itself around the feeling tone of your preciousness, disintegrating all sense of emotions about doubt and worry and fear and anxiety. Release the breath and feel the recalibration taking place. As Jamie was singing, there is a healing going on, and we are participating in it fully and completely. Now, as you let yourself go, I know it's hard to let yourself go, but look around the room for a moment and also scan with your intuition those who are streaming in from around the globe, and feel all of us swimming in an ocean of devotion, of sea of divinity. That we're swimming in the presence of God, that God is our host, primarily because the presence of God is everywhere, and God is not merely in all creation is in God. So this presence is hosting us at this moment and simultaneously giving of itself totally and completely, so that all of the presence is right where we are. Say that with me at this moment. All of the presence is right where I am. All of the love is right where I am. All of the peace is right where I am. All abundance is right where I am. All intelligence is right where I am. As you are contemplating that sacred truth, there's an underlying feeling tone that's beginning to emerge that is quieting the other voices that may be emerging from your personality, or the constellation of different personality constructs that are emerging. And we're now stepping into the field of our theme of the month, which is beyond the two things that you can trust. We have been discovering and talking about going beyond limited beliefs, beyond perceptions, points of view, beyond opinions, beyond limiting paradigms that would keep us from exploring the vast unknown, of which most of the goodies are in the realm of the unknown, unknown to the ego, unknown to limited perception, unknown to the constellation of shifting personalities. There is a presence of love and beauty and intelligence that's outside all of that. So our spiritual practice is all about going beyond the limited point of view, so we can not only explore, discover, but activate the infinite potential that lies outside of our present paradigm, our present perception. You know by now that perception determines experience. Whatever your perception is on a chronic level, a regular level, consistent level, becomes your experience. So you are the arbiter of your own experience. So we're going beyond, and coming to an understanding of the two things that we can trust. We know you can't trust your own mind, because your mind has been programmed by the world of effects, circumstances, situations, people, places, and things. It's been imprinted since embryo. There's all manner of beliefs and things going on in your mind that you can't really trust. So you don't trust your mind. It's a powerful tool once programmed properly. It's a powerful instrument once programmed properly, but left to its own devices, it might believe what you see on the news. It might believe something that comes out of a president's mouth. It might believe something from your government. So you can't trust your own mind. But what can you trust? You can trust the presence of God, the presence of love and beauty and intelligence. That's the same yesterday, today, and forever, which is why we teach never, ever try to influence God, because you cannot do it. God is love, peace, joy, wisdom, and harmony perennially. We are seeking to be in contact with this presence consciously so that we're influenced by it. So we don't try to influence it, but we can trust it to be the same. We can trust love to be love, peace to be peace, joy to be joy, abundance to be abundance. And then we can trust our spiritual practice. Our spiritual practice yields insights. Insights are events that take place in our consciousness. And when those insights are embodied, we evolve, we unfold, we become more ourselves. Those are the two things that you can trust. You can trust the presence and you can trust your practice, which is why we are a practicing spiritual community, not merely believers. We don't really want to believe stuff. We want to have our direct spiritual encounter through spiritual practice. When you engage in some level of spiritual practice, consistently, joyfully, sometimes not joyfully, but doing it anyway, transcending the psychological vibration of, I don't feel like it. Once you transcend that, then you yield the fruit of the practice. You change. As I was saying in the way of meditation service, when you sit down to meditate, you're not trying to influence a presence. You are sitting to change. You are sitting to become a greater version of yourself, to transcend the personality construct. You are not to be the same week after week after week through spiritual practice. And so those are the two things you can trust. And today, the topic is the dynamics of spiritual liberation, which I think are extremely important. First of all, spiritual liberation is when we become untethered by time and experience in the past and futurizing. Spiritual liberation is moksha is the word, when we become liberated from the limited point of view and become more and more ourselves on a continual basis. The dynamic of spiritual liberation contains one. You see us ourselves doing these affirmations on a regular basis. You may be doing them at home. You may be doing decrees, declarations, affirmations, incantations. You may be setting up different practices by which you are seeking to manifest and to bring into your life a greater experience of life, a greater experience of health and prosperity and joy and right relations and all of that good stuff. But the dynamic of spiritual liberation begins with, underneath every affirmation, underneath every prayer, every visualization, there is the dynamic of you wanting to be closer to the presence of God, wanting to have a greater realization of your oneness with God more than you want what you think you want. I'm going to let that set in for a moment. I'm talking about spiritual liberation. So if underneath your affirmation, this is why I say we contemplate our affirmation. We go inside and we feel that it's happening, but underneath that is a dynamic that what we really want is a dynamic opening, a conscious one-ment with this presence. Without that, you end up being one of the individuals on the planet that has everything but is unhappy. Because underneath the undertone of I want to be connected consciously to the present wasn't there. So that dynamic creates a kind of a spiritual tension, an inner revelation where we get to understand that all of the things we think we want are the magnificent byproducts, and it's a great understanding that this presence that is within you, that is divine wisdom, wholeness, wellness, well-being, intelligence, all the good stuff, it already knows what you need. It already knows it. You don't have to tell it. It already knows it. And so when you're affirming, whatever it is you're affirming, good health, ever-increasing prosperity, whatever it is, underneath that, there is an inner feeling of what I really want. I want a connection. I want a relationship with this presence, you see. And then that creates a dynamic of your growth, of which that which you are affirming for does come into manifestation, but not without the unfoldment of your soul faculty. You are becoming more of yourself. Now, the other aspect of the dynamic of spiritual liberation is when, in fact, you begin to vibrate at a higher frequency. Remember, your frequency is your currency. Remember, your vibration is determined by your chronic thoughts. You have 60, 70, 1,000 of them every single day. Most of them are the same ones you had yesterday, which is why your life doesn't change, because the perception doesn't change. You don't have insight and revelations, inspiration. Anyway, that's an aside, but it's a good aside. So this dynamic that you are creating through your prayer, through your meditation, through your affirmation, through your declarations, through your decree, through your study, contemplating what you're saying with the undertone of underneath all that I think I want. I want this connection consciously. It creates a dynamic of all that does not vibrate at that level begins to surface in your awareness. That which has been repressed or suppressed emotionally begins to pop up because you're now strong enough to deal with it. You have enough vitalizing spirit within you to remember what you now can forget. Remember, you cannot forget what you haven't remembered. So when you have this dynamic of connection, you start remembering. The surface mind says, oh, I'm going backwards. I'm regressing. I'm having all of these emotions come up. I'm having all of these different kind of feelings and memories. When that happened, when I was that age, I don't want to remember that stuff, you see? But that's the moment that you're progressing, because you cannot forget what you haven't remembered. So when it pops up, that's when you embrace and forgive. Embrace and forgive. When you forgive, really? Now you can forget it because you've remembered it. But until it's remembered, it's repressed or suppressed. Repression happens as an instinct of protection. When something terrible happens, some trauma, something happens in your life, you can't handle it. You're too young. You don't understand the total movement of the progression of the universe. And you don't understand that oftentimes things happen that catapult you into greatness that were once negative. You don't understand all that at that time. And so your soul represses it so that you can go on. You have a good coping mechanism, a good defense mechanism to move through life, you see. And sometimes you suppress it on purpose. I don't want to remember that. But when you start to have the dynamic of spiritual liberation, it comes back into your awareness for you to forgive it all. For you to embrace and forgive, embrace, forgive, embrace, acknowledge, forgive, acknowledge, embrace, forgive, until the sting of it begins to dissolve. And now you can forget it. That doesn't mean you have a spiritual lobotomy and actually forget it. But it means whenever you think about it or it comes into your mind or somebody mentions something, there's no trigger there anymore because you've forgiven it. This is the dynamic of spiritual liberation that must be understood, or else individuals become addicted to being high all the time in their spiritual quest and then try to suppress the seeming lows, not understanding that, as I've said over the years, a bad day for the ego is a good day for the soul. When you think you're regressing, you're actually progressing, particularly if the undertone of the work that you're doing is, more than anything, I want conscious connection with the presence that is never in absence. For those who are just tuning in to Agape, please understand when I use the word God, I'm not speaking about the guy in the sky. I'm not speaking about some man. I'm not speaking about some capricious, jealous being that's going to condemn you to hell or some nonsense like that. That was a good superstitious thought at some point when humanity was developing. But at this point, we've grown beyond that. And we've come to an understanding that this presence is not an absence. It's a love, a beauty, an intelligence. It's the same yesterday, today, and forever. And it loves you because it is love. There is no withhold in it. It can't help but love you. And so when I say God, that's a part of what I am talking about. Now that's on the micro level. That's the individual level. Our personal spiritual liberation is important because every single being that breaks through with insight and revelation and becomes more and more free affects the whole, affects the society, affects the nation, affects the world, because we're all connected. Even though there may be people who have forgotten their connection with other people, it still affects everyone with every insight that you have. You become spiritually radioactive and you become dynamically contagious. Flu isn't the only thing that's going around here. Listen, when you wake up and you have an inner joy, an inner peace, an inner love, an inner desire to contribute to the world, you are contagious with that dynamic, and you affect people. Suddenly people feel that they want to be about something. They want to do something good. They don't want to do something bad. They don't even know where it's coming from. It might be coming from you. You contagious so-and-so, spreading all this love around, all this beauty and joy, it affects everyone. So on the micro level, we are significant and we are important. We mean something because the presence of the living one has never made a meaningless act. Everything has meaning by the presence and the power and the love of God. Each individual means undivided. Each individual carries the full presence of God and must wake up to it and deliver their goods in a way that is uplifting, healing, inspiring, and transforming. Now, on the macro level, when we deal with civilizations, societies, and things of that particular nature, the same thing is going on. We've been seeded for years with the zeitgeist of inspiration, of love, and endurance. You see, we're studying a Black History Month this month, and even though some people are trying to get rid of it, it's making us celebrate it more and more. You're trying to push something down and it rises up, Next month is Women's History Month. It's trying to get the women out of that's going to rise up even more. But anyway, the world has been seeded with the dream of Dr. King. It's been seeded with Howard Thurman and Charles Drew. It's been seeded with Sojourner Truth and Ida B. Wells. It's been seeded with Shirley Chisholm. It's been seeded with people like Barbara Fields, who helped found the Season for Nonviolence and changed so many lives. It's been seeded with other mystics like Walter Russell and George Washington Carver and Ernest Holmes and the Dressers and the Fillmores. It's been seeded, and then you have these crazy movies that were crazy at the time, movies like The Secret and who What the bleep do you know? And Heal. I mean, it's been a seeding that's been taking place for a long time, so that the narrative that changes the inner architecture of our being to be able to hold more cosmic energy is present. It's here. It's in the science. Epigenetics, in the science. Quantum physics, it's in the science. Evolutionary biology, it's seeded. Therefore, what's bubbling up is everything that's been repressed or suppressed. It used to be impolite to be a racist. It used to be impolite to talk about women in a very misogynistic way. A lot of these things are bubbling up again only because we're prepared vibrationally enough to look at it, acknowledge it, say it doesn't have any power, forgive, and to move on. It would not come up at this level, all the way to the highest office in the land. It wouldn't come up at this level unless, as a society and a world, we were not prepared, unless we were prepared to be able to handle it. So instead of us screaming how bad certain things are, and certain things are bad, however, all things are working together for our good. The universe is progressive, you see? Everything is working together for our good. So now that things are not hidden anymore, based on the stimulus of mystics and great individuals who have done mighty work on the planet. And here's the deal. A thought emerging from a field of love and unity, way more powerful than a thought form emerging from separation and hate. So all of these beings that I mentioned, I can mention a whole lot more, obviously. That thought is so powerful. It is saying now, as a society, we can look at all of this crap. We can look at ignorance trying to ban books. We can look at ignorance trying to change history. Slavery was a training camp for black people to get out of Africa. We can look at all of this nonsense coming. They couldn't say that before. They can say it now Because there's a strong enough field of love, self-love and appreciation, strong enough field of love in all these various communities, our Japanese American community, our Jewish American community, our Black American community, our Latino American community, all have a deep sense of culture and love about themselves that will not be torn down, regardless of the destruction of certain things. And so the field is strong enough for let all that stuff come on up. Let it all come on up now. Let the racism come on up. Let the white supremacy come on up. Let the misogyny against women come on up. Because now we can see it. And we can see it's bluff. It's coming up from a consciousness of fear. A consciousness of, I'm not enough. A consciousness of bullying, you see. And everybody knows a bully has no power once you call their bluff. And we call the bluff by rising up with a greater readiness in such love and such a dynamic peace. We don't lose our footing in these spiritual qualities, and we forgive Forgive doesn't condone. I'm not talking about condoning stuff. Forgiveness means that the energy of resentment and animosity in our own soul does not take hold, because no one is powerful enough to make us hate. No one is powerful enough to hold into that. So then that leads us into hearing, now that the debris is gone from the mind and we can see things clearly, that leads us into right action. We ask the question, what is it that's ours to do? What do I really want? You see, what is it that's mine to do? And then you scan your life and you see what your gift is, what your talent is, what your joy is. And you do it so well. All with the idea of one, wanting that connection more than anything, and two, contributing to the world before you leave. Why is that important? Because you didn't come here to get anything. I don't care what the get-rich people told you. You didn't come to get anything from the planet. You came to give. You came to share. You came to shine. You came to glow. You came to radiate. And in the process of that, it's a circulation, so you have more to give. There's more prosperity. There's more energy. There's more health. There's more vitality. There's more whatever it is. But you begin on the right side of the law. I have everything I need, and I've come to share it. I've come to give it. I'm come to circulate it. I want to give so much before I leave the body temple that I'm not regretting not 1 second. This is it. So you've heard the dynamic of spiritual liberation. Trust the presence. Trust your practice. When you think you're going backwards, it's oftentimes a release of that which is being suppressed or repressed, which means you're progressing, and your whole movement at that time is to enter into the vibrational frequency of forgiveness. All forgiveness is self-forgiveness. It's a releasing of toxins in your own being, perceptions that would limit you from seeing everyone as an emanation of God, and standing. And then what happens? Groups of us rise up vibrationally and are able to capture a vision, a possibility of the wonderfulness that's trying to emerge on this planet. We have to be able to see that more than we see what's being disintegrated. You understand what I'm saying? You have to see that right now on this planet, there is so much good trying to happen. There's technology that can heal anything. There's machines creating water out of air. There's cars driving forever without any electricity. There's everything ready to pop. In other words, the old paradigm is dead. They just don't know it. The old paradigm is gone. They're just trying to hold on to the last vestige of it. So we have to continue to see what's emerging. We have to feel it. We have to describe it. We have to walk in it as if it's already happening. Because in the meta field, in the metaphysical field, in the vibrational field, it's happening, baby. I see it. It's happening. But we need to lock arms and hearts together and walk in the vibration of a kind and just global society together until it becomes more real to us than the very chairs we're sitting on. That's what it means to be visionary. Doesn't mean you're not with your boots on doing what you got to do where you're doing it. Some people are great activists, you see. Some people are great doctors and healers, and some people are great practitioners, and everyone's got their thing. And just because somebody else's thing is not your thing, you can't denigrate them because their thing is different. When Marian Anderson sang that great contralto and changed history because she wasn't allowed to sing in a certain hall because she was black. But when she sang, it shattered everything. And they couldn't put things back together. Humpty Dumpty just couldn't do it. Humpty fell off the walls. Oh my God, this woman can sing. Woo, Jesse Owens can run. Oh my God, Howard Thurman. Oh my God, what a great mystic. Humpty Dumpty just, all the king's horses, king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. That means all worldly stuff couldn't put it back. That yolk was cooked. And so we're standing at the precipice of a dawn of something new. What you're going to get on a regular basis in your media aspect of life is a reporting from an old paradigm that's dying. You must be the reporters of that which is emerging. What comes out of your mouth must be something that's emerging, must be a possibility, must be a vision. And when you see the remnants of that which has been suppressed and repressed and trying to come out strong again, yes, you have to look at it in the eye, call it a lie, but at the same time, you have to forgive that part of humanity that hasn't yet evolved. Because those are your younger brothers and sisters, whether you like them or not. They're your younger brothers and sisters, whether you like them or not. And you being a beneficial presence will be the tipping point that'll change everything. So if you're having your own inner consternation, you're starting to remember stuff you wish you would forget, you're starting to feel those emotions run wild, and you've been doing your spiritual work, and the mind wants to say, I've been doing all of this spiritual work, why do I feel so bad? It's a good thing, because something's being brought up to heal, so that the Spirit of the living one can be revealed unencumberedly, so that you're not addicted to the highs and afraid of the seeming lows. As I've said over the years, you don't come to Agape to get high, you come to get free. In the process of being free, you grow through changes. Body, temple, mental body, emotional body, all kinds of stuff. But what can you trust? Your practice. Every day, you do something. You pray, you meditate, you do the life visioning process, you study something. You hang around with somebody with an open heart and expanded mind without judgment. You do some kind of practice, yogic, some kind of practice, qigong, some kind of practice, breath, pranayama, some kind of practice. So that after a while, you become stable amongst the vicissitudes of the human experience, where people are growing through changes, remembering stuff coming up, trying to suppress, trying to repress, trying to use drugs to repress it, trying to get pharmaceutical drugs to suppress it. We're not into that. We're into bring it on. We're strong enough to handle it. We're strong enough to handle all of it. And the only thing we trust is not the stuff coming at us all the time, bombarded by the media, because there's all kinds of backroom agendas. We trust the presence, and we trust our practice, and it will reveal, I'm telling you, it will reveal to you. It will reveal to you your next step. It will reveal to you how to be safe as you're matriculating through Earth School. It will reveal it to you. You got to trust your soul. Gotta lean on it. Whew. Leaning simply means you're trusting and leaning on this ineffable presence. Lean not into your own little understanding, your egoic, intellectual understanding. Lean on this presence until it becomes more real to you than anything, and then it will spiritualize your intellect. You're not going to get rid of it. You love it, but it'll be spiritualized instead of intellectualizing the spirit. You'll spiritualize the intellect. Woo, and you'll be a genius, baby. Woo! You and Walter Russell will be hanging out. You and Howard Thurman be hanging out. You see? Shoo. Let's go right back to here. Place your arms around yourself. And if you had those moments of doubt about yourself, doubts, and things are starting to bubble up, and you're doing all your best to keep it away, you're in a field of love and beauty and intelligence right now. Catch once again how precious your life is. That there's been no mistakes in your creation. That you've been shot from the eternal as a representative of the eternal. The eternal is love, beauty, and intelligence. That's what you are. It's who you are. And where you are is at its center, and why you are is to reflect and to reveal its purpose, which is to continue to expand its nature. Feel your preciousness. Feel your preciousness. We enter into this space of prayer together this morning. And you have a choice. You can choose right this moment to enter into the field of gratitude. You can do it. The surface mind may be trying to weigh you down with all of the things that aren't working in your life right now, or so it appears to be. But we're not going to judge by appearances. You're going to rise into the feeling tone of gratitude right now. Just give yourself permission to fly into the sacred altitude of gratitude. If you need a little help, think of one thing that you can be grateful for. And just let that feeling take you over. I'm grateful that I can walk. I'm grateful my heart's beating. I'm grateful that I have some shelter. I'm grateful. Whatever it is. If you needed a little help, it's okay. Just feel the gratitude now. And now just release the thing that helped you and just be in the field of gratitude for no reason whatsoever. We're starting the dynamic of spiritual liberation. And now allow yourself to recognize the presence everywhere. Oh, yes, it's that blade of grass growing through the cement. Yes, it is. It's the blooming of a rose. The birth of a baby. It's so much more. Oh, let it make you feel one with God. It's not blasphemous to feel one with God. You're not limiting God by feeling one with God. You are magnifying the Lord. Magnifying it. I am what thou art. Thou art what I am. Let me be the light of love and beauty and intelligence. Let me be an answer to someone's prayer. Let me perhaps be the miracle in somebody's day. Oh, wake up that way. Let me be the miracle in somebody's day today. Use me, God. Great presence, use me. And from this sense of oneness, The very word that I am speaking is the word of God. It is a vibrational frequency of oneness and wholeness and love and beauty and intelligence. And I speak it for each and every one of us today, that we may be free, spiritually liberated, that every organ and action and function of our body temple may reveal the intrinsic wholeness of our spiritual nature. Our mental body is clarifying, it's becoming so clear. Our emotional body is purifying, it's becoming so pure. The body of our affairs are beginning to reflect and to reveal the fundamental order of the cosmos. All of this is occurring because we are letting it. We are allowing it. We're saying yes to it. Underneath every prayer we have, we want to know the presence of God. Under every prayer that we have for anything in our life, we want to know the presence of God and love and joy and wisdom and harmony. We want to know it. We don't want to just stop at believing it. We want to know it. This is it. This is where we hang. This is where we hang. Woo. Feel it. Feel it. Help them feel it, Brother Jamie.
Savitur vareniam, bargo devasya dimai dioyona prachodayat, burbuvasvat, tat savitur vareniam, bargo devasya dimai dioyonam prachodayat. Om Bhurvas.
This is the Gayatri mantra.
Savitur vareniam.
Feel into it.
Bargo devasya dimai dioyonam prachodayat.
Borrow your consciousness for a moment as Jamie is still carrying the undertone of that magnificent mantra.